Sam, did you catch origami wrestling?
No, I can't say I've ever even heard of origami wrestling.
Are you sure? It was on pay-per-view.
Oh, even by Adam standards, that one's bad. Like,
I'm sorry. Here's the headlines. I'm sorry. Tony Khan is interested in talking to a fired WWE superstar. The Miz has revealed the backstage reaction to his WWE Championship win. And Bianca Belair has revealed who she will be facing at WrestleMania 37. Find out who and the other headlines from SmackDown in a little tickle, as they say in Manchester. So then, Sam, on the Thursday edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, Tony Khan has said he is interested in a fired WWE superstar. Is it Lars Sullivan? I know you're asking yourselves right now. No, it's not. It's somebody much better. It's Zelina Vega, Sam. Your initial reaction to that news?
That's huge. That could be really, really, really big, especially with the fact... just the circumstances surrounding Zelina Vega's departure from the company, for one, the fact she has a massive online following, for two, and three, she can go in the ring. WWE have really, I don't know how to even sum up the catastrophic implosion around this whole situation. I think she'd be a boon for AEW, to be honest.
A what?
An absolute boon, like an absolute victory.
I have never heard that said in my life before. Well, I'll tell you what, right, but there has been some confusion on TK's part, as his friends get to call him. Yes, I am definitely TK's best friend in the entire world. He said he was waiting for the 90-day no-compete clause to run down. He thought that was still a thing as of Thursday, but it turns out, Sam, it's actually been, as we're sat here today, 106 days since the whole bollocks went down with WWE releasing Zelina Vega, and then she tweeting out that she supports unionization and all of that stuff, and everything that resulted from that from here on out. So that is out the window. You would assume that soon Zelina Vega will be getting a call from Tony Khan, and she will be getting hired by AEW, because surely they can find something for her to do, because, as you say, she can go in the ring, but more importantly, I reckon she's a fantastic manager.
Yep. Absolutely fantastic manager, and as I said, she has that built-in online following now, and the fact people just want to know what she's going to do next, if she's even going to do anything next. I think as I said, it'll bring a lot of eyes to AEW's product.
Yep, definitely again for AEW. Sorry, I've just missed the quote I've got written down here, Sam. This is from TK himself. I'm prepared this Saturday morning. When we get through this of course being the women's title eliminator tournament, and through Revolution, I would be interested to see where she is at. So there you go. After Revolution, Zelina Vega's phone will be ringing from TK. Hello, TK. In the same interview, though, Tony Khan confirmed that at some point this year, AEW will have 2 shows on TNT and 2 shows on YouTube. Earlier this week, of course, along with the signing of well, it's Paul White. They confirmed that a new sort of dark type show called Dark Elevation will be happening with Paul White and Tony Schiavone on commentary. But this news, Sam, it scares me, because currently I believe that with Dynamite being 2 hours every Thursday, Dark being however long it is every Tuesday on the YouTube, that's the sweet spot in terms of wrestling content, and not having to fill time, it being more killer than filler. But with 2 YouTube shows and with 2 TV shows, you've got to fill time, haven't you, Sam? And that terrifies me. You
absolutely have to, and it's always the sort of worry that people are going to be running before they can walk type thing. You know, like, you don't want to, if you're going to go for that sort of, secondary show, like, to draw the parallel, SmackDown with WWE was to Raw, you don't want to be Thunder to Nitro. That's the one you don't want to be, and you've got to make sure that. And I'm pretty sure that they're not going to, rush into something like this. And I'm sure the network must want more, and must want them on the network more, And it can go one or two ways. But I think, for sure, as you said, it's just a little bit. That's a lot of. That's a heck of a lot of massive amount of stuff to do.
That's a heck of a lot of massive amount of stuff to do. Yeah, that's just the thing, is it? Because the main issue with WWE has to be the fact that they've got 3 hours to fill on a Monday, and then 2 more hours to, in terms of main roster stuff. I know that NXT's main roster Triple H, but it's not really, is it? 5 hours of main roster content to fill every single week, and naturally, when you've got that amount of TV time to fill, there's going to be some filler stuff, and hopefully AEW can find a way to make that work. But it's just too much wrestling, isn't there, Sam? At the end of the day.
There's a lot going on. I was apprehensive about this day coming. I was not expecting it to be this quick. I knew they'd end up with a second show, but I wasn't expecting it to be now. I don't think I can take it anymore. My brain's just going, I'm going to have to really just get my schedule in order, make sure I've got that extra 2 hours, however much it's going to be.
Me and Sam are a couple of glass half full kind of guys, obviously crapping on something that hasn't already happened yet. But anyway, moving on now. We have WWE Champion The Miz appearing on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast, and he's talked about a couple of things revolving around his WWE Championship win last Sunday, of course, at Elimination Chamber. Sam, how did you feel about that one?
Yeah, I mean, just Chamber in general, I was a pretty big fan of. But you know, I'm always going to lie heavily on the SmackDown side of things, and especially, I mean, that Cesaro swing and just no. But I don't know. What did you make? What did you make of Elimination Chamber in general?
Really solid show from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I compared it to Rachel from Friends' Trifle. Everything was nice. God, good. And the proverbial meat in the trifle was the women's tag team match, but that was just because it was a poor build and inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, back to The Miz. He has revealed when he found out he was going to cash in his briefcase. Yes, don't tell many people, but The Miz doesn't actually decide when he gets to cash it in. It's somebody else. But he found out that afternoon, Sunday afternoon of Elimination Chamber. This is the quote, what he said to Renee Paquette. I went in there and no one was talking to me. Like all of creative, I was like, is anyone going to talk to me? And then I went in and figured out what was going on, and I was like, okay, this is it. You don't believe it's going to happen until you hear the 1, 2, 3. So it's a price. You often think with stuff like Money in the Bank that lends itself to long-term booking, your end point and then work your way backwards. But no, not in modern day WWE. I mean, that afternoon he found out.
It's huge. You can't not be excited for, you know, the idea of Miz as champion. We all know that he has that charisma, that he could pull it off, especially with the whole situation revolved around like all the things with him and Daniel Bryan talking smack, all that. Like he showed us, like what, a good year, 2 years ago now. He's ready for it, but there's a lot of people saying, is it too late? I don't think it is. I think we just got to wait a little bit. Just allow him that time. But yeah, it just feels odd that he'd walk into the building and it'd be like, oh yeah, huge news.
Not like it was back in our days, Sam. Then Mizzles went on to reveal the sort of backstage reaction to his upcoming, at the time, championship win, saying the following. When I went backstage, I talked to people in the chamber match. They were all very receptive and proud, being like, you deserve it. An actual clapping thing happened backstage. No, it didn't happen, actually. But that's the thing, is it? We might not be striking the proverbial Miz fire when it's hot. That's the saying, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it's famously famous.
Yeah, we might be having him as champion when he's a bit on the colder side of things compared to what he's done over the past few years in WWE. You think about from like sort of Miz'd out onwards, and you cannot deny, you know, over the past year or so, it's gone a bit colder. But from the sort of Miz'd out era up until Shane McMahon and George and all that stuff, he was on fire in WWE, and you maybe should have argued that he was bigger and more prominent and better than the Intercontinental title, which he made so important once again during that period of time. So I can see why people have their reservations about Miz winning the title now, but you can't argue against the guy getting the championship, as he was saying earlier.
No, I think as well, even when it's, you know, in dead periods for the Miz, which I don't really think ever exist for Miz because he's so charismatic, but like, I think even in periods where he's not, you know, front and center in all the main storylines, there's still moments of gold. If any time he gets with promos, any packages, anything like that, there's always at least one line where it's just like, oh, how, and it just proper takes you like sideways. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see, aren't we? But I really hope these people aren't proved right, that it's too late and that it's all just going to be a very quick, you know, transition or whatever.
And Renee then went on to ask The Miz, if you were booking WWE as you champion, how would you book things from here on out? And Miz basically just said, yeah, I would put myself in the WrestleMania main event, which of course you would say if you were The Miz and the Dick, but it does very much look like, and of course they could just swerve us all, it looks very much sort of predictable from here on out that Monday, shenanigans will be at play when The Miz defends his title against Bobby Lashley. We go on to Fastlane, Bobby takes the title, then Drew challenges Bobby at WrestleMania. Do you think that'll happen? I'm just excited to see the idea of Bobby Lashley as champion as well. There's just so many tantalizing options just sat around here, and I don't know what I want most. It'd be a shame for Miz to win the belt and just immediately drop it, but then it'd be unreal if Lashley did that. So I kind of want both, but none, but both, but neither. But
Drew, but Miz, but
I tell you, just my personal perspective, I reckon Lashley versus McIntyre is a way more mouth-watering prospect, and I can fully see why they would have the Miz get involved, so Lashley wouldn't have to beat Drew, so Drew would have to beat Lashley back, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's nice to see them doing things logically. Hey, who would have thought, eh? But finally, we're on this news video here on this lovely, warm Saturday morning. There's a crisp breeze in the air, Sam, but there's a lovely sunshine this morning.
I was sat in just getting everything going, getting my notes together for graded and stuff, and the sun was coming up, but it was beaming off the window opposite, and I was just like, there's no blinds or anything. It's like...
Bianca Belair appeared on last night's SmackDown and has revealed who she will be facing at WrestleMania 37. And to the shock and horror of absolutely nobody, she revealed she will be facing the Boss, the Blueprint, the Standard, all of those nicknames, Sissy Bunks from Impact Wrestling. There's a callback to many moons ago. And I tell you what, Sam, I am very excited. I haven't seen last night's SmackDown yet. You have. Tell us how this one came about.
I knew this was coming. I think everybody knew this was coming. Everybody's sort of been like, there's been a weird stages of this announcement where I was like, why didn't you just announce it 3 weeks ago? And also, it's been nice having this little bit of back and forth and allowing Bianca more time on screen. But Pierce and DeVille were there and they were like, look, Bianca's going to come out. She's going to tell us all her decision. So she comes down. She starts, going off on one about like, you got to like follow your dreams and you got to do this and just sort of really, doubling down on this whole, amazing situation for her. And then out comes Reginald, which is, I like Reginald, but I don't know if it needed it here. Reginald's like, no, come on, just challenge Asuka, don't challenge Sasha. And then down comes Sasha. Sasha's just like, come on then, if you want to be the real EST, you're going to have to beat me first. And standard stuff. And then there's just a big old emotional point to the sign. Sasha kind of smiles, and that was it.
Was there pyro? Because, of course, when Edge pointed at the sign, we had lovely surprise sign-pointing pyro.
Yeah, if there was a crowd there wouldn't have been a crowd there for very long. It just started going...
It's amazing how they have that surprise pyro on hand every single time. But anyway, the other main headline, I should say, from last night's SmackDown was Apollo Crews' new look, of course. Was it last week we saw the promo where he sort of referenced his heritage and being from royalty back in Nigeria, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, so he is wearing all new sort of... well, not all new. It's not like he's changed up his look dramatically. But he's wearing like a scarf. He's got just the same old sort of trunks and stuff. But his color scheme has gone to green and white, which I believe are the colors of the national flag of Nigeria. Yeah. And he cut a hell of a promo. So he was wrestling Nakamura, came out, cut a promo, being like, you know what? I've tried being humble, tried being nice, tried kissing ass, got me absolutely nowhere, and that's not really my place in the world. I'm from Nigerian royalty, and it's time that I started, doing what I'm supposed to do. And he just absolutely took it to Nakamura. It was great. Unreal. I don't know where they've been hiding him. I
didn't think it would be possible, but Apollo Crews as a dick is just a natural fit, isn't it?
Completely. Like the match starts and he goes straight for the steps to just what he did last week. But like I don't know. Like it's bewildering that they must have seen this. They must have done some sort of training and gone, right, got a heel promo. I'm happy for it. It's like, I know people might be a bit upset that he beat Nakamura, but try not to be, I'd say this in graded, but try not to be upset with the fact he beat Nakamura and just try to be happy with the fact that we've got like a brand new heel we never really expected that could potentially go really, really far. Yeah. And has the in-ring skill to back it up and the charisma just out of nowhere all of a sudden. They've just allowed him to do this, so...
That was it. You can't argue with the in-ring work, but it was always just the character, and now he's finally got that, and he can do anything on SmackDown now, as far as I'm concerned. Apollo Crews. Who would have thought, eh? But that's it for your Saturday morning wrestling news headlines. Of course, later today, Sam will be back for a more in-depth review of last night's SmackDown with Graded. I'll be back taking the piss out of last night's SmackDown with WTF Moments. Tomorrow, there's a tier list going up about Elimination Chamber winners with myself and Andrew Dingles. I think he's known around these parts these days.
I believe so, yes.
Andrew Dingles. Sam, anything from you this weekend?
I don't think so. I think it's War Stories next weekend, so for me it'll just be Graded and I'll be bowing out.
Yep, I'll be streaming on the Twitch tomorrow morning doing the FIFA-licious 2021. And on Monday, a new episode of Straight to Hell with former WWE Superstar Aiden English, Matt Ray Walton. Let me tell you, Sam, might just be the best episode ever because that man did not hold anything back and it was fantastic. Over an hour it is.
I saw it on the back end yesterday. I was like, you did what? Like, where did this come from? You kept that one close to your chest, so I'm buzzing to watch that. Can't wait.
Oh, I'm not even just saying it just because I did the video. It's legitimately very interesting. So much stuff from behind the scenes in WWE. Well worth the watch. Thank you, Matt, for being so open. Bloody hell. But that's it. I've been Ross Vidal from Cultaholic Wrestling. He's been Sam Driver, also from Cultaholic Wrestling. And we'll see you soon.